Hello, good afternoon. You're welcome to News in Brief on Rstv. My name is Sibiri Inda. The Senate has expressed strong dissatisfaction with the federal government's practice of implementing multiple budgets within a single fiscal year, warning that the trend undermines fiscal discipline, transparency, and effective governance. The lawmakers also directed the Federal Inland Revenue Services (FIRS) to raise its 2026 revenue target from 31 trillion naira to 35 trillion naira. These concerns were raised during an interactive session between the Senate Committee on Finance and key economic managers on the 2026 to 2028 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework (MTF) and Fiscal Strategy Paper (FSP), and the session was chaired by the committee's chairman, Senator Sani Musa. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy, Wale Edu, told the committee that while the 2024 budget performed fairly well in terms of revenue, the 2025 budget recorded significant setbacks. He disclosed that of the projected 40 trillion naira revenue for 2025, only about 10 trillion had been realized, leaving a deficit of 30 trillion naira. Edu said the revenue shortfall forced the government to roll over nearly 70% of capital projects in the 2025 budget into 2026, a development that drew sharp criticism from senators. Meanwhile, the Senate has thrown its weight behind the introduction of a fully electronic and integrated civil registration system, describing it as a critical step towards improving national planning, governance, and data-driven decision-making in Nigeria. The position was articulated in Abuja by the chairman of the Senate Committee on National Identity Card and National Population, Senator Victor Ume, during a public hearing organized by the committee. The hearing focused on a proposed legislation seeking to repeal the Births, Deaths, and Other Compulsory Registration Act Cap B9, Lords of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and replace it with the Compulsory Civil Registration Act 2025. The bill, sponsored by Senator Ume, aims to establish an electronic civil registration framework in line with global best practices. Speaking at the event, the senator said Nigeria could no longer afford to operate a fragmented and paper-based civil registration system in an era of digital governance. He stressed that accurate and comprehensive records of birth, death, are essential for credible population data, effective national development planning, and transparent governance. And now the House of Representatives Joint Committee on Petroleum Resources has invited Dangote Refinery and NMDPRA to resolve disagreement threatening the downstream petroleum sector. Chairman Ikenga Ugochinyere said after an emergency Abuja meeting that rising tensions could undermine the fragile stability recently achieved. Ugochinyere said the committee must act swiftly as efforts continue to stabilize supply, pricing, and regulation in Nigeria's post-subsidy petroleum era. He said petitions received cover import license issuance and whether domestic refineries can meet Nigeria's daily petroleum demand. The lawmaker explained that all outstanding matters would be examined when refining and regulatory stakeholders appear before the committee. And now the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority (NCAA) says pilots' licensing and medical certification will henceforth be linked to the National Identity Number (NIN) through its newly launched digital system. NCAA's Director General, Captain Chris Najomo, who announced this at the launch of the MP Personnel Licensing and Medical Certification (PELMED) and a stakeholders' engagement in Abuja, explained that the integration of the registration procedures to the NIN is expected to curb fraud, boost security, save time, and streamline paperwork. The NCAA boss said the digital platform will strengthen regulatory effectiveness, advance safety oversight, and enable operational excellence in the industry. Instead, the new initiative will be fully operational on April 2 next year after adequate engagement with relevant stakeholders. And now from the foreign scene, the Rebel Coalition Alliance Fleuve Congo, AFC M23, has announced a conditional withdrawal of its fighters from the strategic city of Uvira in South Kivu province in a significant development in a long-running conflict in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. The move follows intensive international pressure, particularly from the United States and other partners, urging all parties to uphold recently brokered peace arrangements and avoid further bloodshed. In a statement on social media, the AFC M23 said the pullback from Uvira is a trust-building measure intended to support ongoing negotiations under the Doha Peace Framework, where Congolese authorities and rebel representatives have been engaged in efforts aimed at ending hostility. The group framed the decision as a step towards strengthening dialogue and revitalizing peace talks. Uvira has been a flashpoint in the conflict, with the M23 coalition earlier capturing the city and exacerbating tensions despite a U.S.-mediated agreement signed by the President of Congo and Rwanda in early December that aimed to curb violence. The offensive has displaced large numbers of civilians and shocked the region by defying those peace commitments. And that is it on the News in Brief today on Rstv. My name is Ebere Inda. Good afternoon.